Check the link in the chat in a minute, guys. Bear with me a minute. Okay, so links in the chat. Somebody's in watching already. Hello, whoever you are. So I've got 2 likes at the moment. It's Chelsea.
Hi.
Hey, Chelsea, alright?
Yeah.
Good. What have you been up to?
Not much, just trying to sort some stuff out, which is not going well.
What's been going on?
Just getting shit from everyone, which is just not fun.
Oh, been one of those days, is it?
Yeah, it's kind of just one of them days. I'm just like, I already want to be done with it, but feels like it never ended.
Yeah, I didn't do much today. I just stayed in today, I did.
Yeah.
because Nicola had her had an appointment, so I just didn't really feel like going out anywhere, so
Yeah.
I ended up just staying in and chilling.
I ended up coming home to my mum. Yay.
Oh, the joys.
Yep.
Because we've got 2 people in watching us, apparently. That's what it's saying on Restream anyway. I don't know what it's saying on YouTube. Yeah, it's saying 2 people watching us on YouTube too.
I feel so tired.
Yeah, I thought though that because of what I titled the stream and the thumbnail, I thought I would have had more people in.
Yeah.
Because like when it's a certain day, see, and I'm doing a live stream, I'll do what I normally do in it, say what day it is and put the
Yeah.
date. But if it's a certain day, then I'll type something at the end.
Yeah.
Like today is World CP Day, so.
Yeah.
And the thumbnail thing I just got off Google, so. I used the same picture like 2 years ago, but I didn't do a live stream on October the 6th last year.
Yeah.
So, at least I don't think I did. Anyway, I'm gonna have a little look now. Because to be honest, I can't really remember, but I don't think I did. No, I didn't. I didn't think I did. Got any plans for the weekend then?
My mum's going to a wedding tomorrow, but she's moaning because she doesn't want to go to this wedding because it's my brother's birthday tomorrow, which that's all I've heard about since I've come home is, oh, we got him this. And I'm like, great.
Oh.
I'm like, it's all about him, but it's like, whenever it's like my birthday or whatever, like, it's not like the same. It's just kind of like, everyone's just like, oh yeah, it's your birthday. Like, yeah. But because it's his, everyone's like trying to make everything better. And my mum bought him a present that I'm like, doesn't he already have like fucking 4 of the same fucking thing? Why does he need another one?
It's one of those situations, is it?
Well, it's like, she was like, because she tried to, like, tried to give me a card to like give to him, and I was like, I already have one, not that he really deserves one, but like, just so fucking people couldn't moan that I didn't give him one. And then, like, obviously Gareth was like, oh, like, about like what they got him for like his birthday. My mum's like, oh, we got him this, and I'm like, he already has one, so why does he need? My mum's like, oh yeah, we bought him like an Xbox, and I'm like, he's already got one. He don't need another one. She's like, oh yeah, but he wanted to download games to do some stuff, and I was like, oh, for him to do nothing. But I get moaned at for the fact I don't have a job. So I'm like,
Yeah, but you could just download things onto the Xbox that he's already got, though, can't he?
that's what I said, but they were like, oh, he wanted it, he kept moaning about it, and I was like, oh yeah, he moans about it, and then he gets what he wants. Fucking if it was me, I'd be told, no, save up for it. But it's like he's allowed to, like, sort of do nothing, but then I'm getting moaned at for the fact that I don't have a job and I'm unemployed, and I'm like, so is he. He's been unemployed a lot longer than I have.
Yeah.
He was unemployed from, like, April of, like, this year. I've only been unemployed since August.
Oh.
But I'm like, I'm at least trying and applying for jobs. He's done nothing and hasn't even applied for one. But I'm the one that gets moaned out. So I'm like, great.
I know, I think it's sad, though, really, that they're moaning at you.
Like, they moan at me, but then I'm like, I'm at least trying. I've been to multiple job interviews and I just get rejected from them. I got rejected from 2 this week, and I was just like, yeah, fuck you.
I know, it's not good, is it?
Well, I got rejected from, like, Smith's Toys. It wasn't entirely a job that I wanted, but I was like, it's something. And then I applied for a gaming role because someone told me to just go for it, even though I didn't have the experience of what they were looking for, and they still rejected me anyway. And I was like, what the fuck could I do?
I know, I think it's silly, though, that you're getting rejected all the time.
I was like, I've been rejected so much. It's just like, people go, oh, just keep applying and eventually you'll get something. I'm like, yeah, when?
Do you get me?
Yeah, it's quite, like, it's disheartening because people keep going, oh, just keep applying for jobs. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm like, you can only apply to so many, depending on what you can see. And everyone's like, apply for Christmas temp jobs. And I'm like, I've tried. I've been declined from some of them. And I'm like, it's a fucking Christmas temp job, mate.
Yeah.
Like, what experience do you need?
Like, do you think it could be, though, the fact, though, as well, that they're kind of thinking about your mental health a little bit?
I don't really know, but then I'm like, it's like, I spoke to, like, Liam's mum the other day because she was on about maybe trying, like, sort of supermarkets near him, because obviously there's quite a few that I could try. And I was like to her, well, I tried one and got rejected from them. I was like to her, I don't really know about the others. And obviously I was like to her, I was like, obviously I do have to think about quite a lot. And then obviously bombshell of this week that she's kind of, she now knows about. So I'm like, oh, great.
Yeah, it's a shame, really, that Liam can't just get you a job with him.
I mean, technically, he's not going to be there for much longer. So, great.
Yep.
We'll both be in the same boat as each other.
Oh, it's not good, is it?
Like, he has a reason he actually left his as well. Because we hate where he works. And he also wants to focus on his studies, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
It's his last year, so he doesn't really want to sort of be working night shifts and trying to balance that plus uni.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's fair enough. But I thought his mum would kind of react a bit differently, but she's kind of just been like, yeah, fair enough. She's just kind of like, she goes to him about renting out one of his parking spaces, so that at least he can get some money, because people park in his parking space for free as it is anyway. But obviously Liam was like, will that affect the tenancy agreement? Because basically it would obviously more affect her and his stepdad, because obviously it's there on, like, the sort of lease agreement.
Yeah.
So he was like, he doesn't want to do anything that obviously is going to jeopardise them because they're the ones that would get a bollocking because his stepdad and his mum were both on that lease agreement. His name is
Yeah.
his name is on there, but it's not on there, which would affect him. It would affect them. So he's like, yeah, I don't want to do anything to fuck that up for them. They already got scammed out of a load of money this year, which wasn't good.
Yeah, but to be honest, I think part of the issue now with you is like because obviously like because of your mental health and that, so it could be the fact that they think, well, should she really be in the workplace with their mental health issues?
I mean, like I've said to like companies and job interviews, like I think the thing that they don't want to hire me is because I've said I'm restricted in terms of working hours that I can do because of travel, which is an issue for a lot of companies because they're kind of like, oh, well, we need people to be available for these times and finishing times. And I'm like, yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah, so it's
So
a
I'm
bit
kind of
difficult.
a
Like,
bit restricted because I'm like, if I had a car and I drove, it wouldn't be that much of an issue. But because I've had so many that are like, oh yeah, we finish at like 12 at night or like 1 a.m. and I'm like, well, I can't get back at that time unless I want to walk an hour to like 2 hours from wherever I am back. That's the only way that I'm going to get back, which obviously it's pitch black at that point. Do I really want to be walking? But
I know, and plus as well, like you don't know who's going to be walking the streets at that time at the night either, do you?
no, which is why it's kind of like I feel like a lot of jobs are rejecting me because like I've gone to like two and I said like they were like, oh yeah, our earliest shift could be between like 5 and 6 a.m. and I'm like, I can't get here for that time. And then like, is there a reason why you can't get here for that time? And I'm like, well, transport. I was like, how would you expect me to get here for that time? I was like, there's no transport options. I was like, I don't drive. I was like, I'm debating it because I do feel like it would be easier for not only me but also for Liam because when he goes to kendo and he finishes late, he's lucky that like one of the guys drives, so he kind of doesn't live that far from Liam's, but he's sort of in the process of moving closer to him anyway. That he just drops him home anyway because he's normally dropping home another guy anyway.
Is Liam able to drive?
He did try and do his like driving test like years ago, but he failed, and then he never actually redid the test afterwards. So it's kind of like he would have to sort of relearn as well. But I'm just kind of like, even if one of us drives, it's better than fucking nothing.
Have you ever tried to learn to drive or anything? Or
No, I'm debating it because like I've sort of thought about it for a while, being like it may be a bit easier for jobs then because obviously at least then I've got a way of getting there and a way of getting home without having to sort of be like, oh, rely on public transport.
yeah,
But it's not cheap, and then I have to buy a car after, which again isn't the cheapest, along with MOT and tax.
I know.
Nothing is cheap.
Yeah, everything's just getting more and more expensive these days, isn't it?
I feel like everything's getting worse, and then I've had 3 talks over the past 2 days with my auntie because of everything that's going on, and I'm just like, there's nothing I can fucking do. But I'm having to deal with my cousin crying on the phone because of everything in the news, and I can't do nothing.
Yeah.
But obviously, she's now getting targeted for something that isn't even her fault.
Oh, God.
Because the English Prime Minister did 2 different talks that people agreed with that I'm kind of like, why? Because you're attacking trans people now for no specific reason. They've done nothing.
Exactly, it's not good, is it?
Well, he was like, in one talk, he literally got a standing ovation of people clapping after when he decided to go, people can't choose whatever sex they want to be. He was like, a man is a man and a woman is a woman. And he was like, that's just common sense. That's how it is. And I'm like, but some people may be biologically born a woman or a boy, but they don't feel that that is what they were assigned.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he straight up said that anyone, like, that people now can't be treated on certain wards in a hospital. So if you're biologically born a boy, but you're a trans woman, you will be treated in a male's ward rather than a female's ward. So that means preferably my cousin, who goes by being a girl but is biologically a boy, will now have to completely, for their entire life, be treated on a male ward,
Oh,
which really doesn't work. I'm like, I don't see why they're like coming for
isn't
people.
that classed as being sexist though as well?
Apparently, but they're like, oh, it's for people's protection and to protect them. And I'm like, they did a survey of like 100 something hospitals. Not one person said anything about feeling threatened or thinking that trans people need to be on the wards that they were assigned at birth, that whether they're freaking male or female, that's what you're treated on. I'm just like, so I'm like, now my little cousin is like, doesn't really want to go to school, feels ashamed for being biologically a boy but goes by a girl's name.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, they shouldn't have to. I'm like, they already have had stuff their entire life said to them from when they were still a boy. And my auntie had to go through shit when they came out and decided to, want to be known as a girl. A lot of people are like, my auntie, you caused this. Like, he's a boy, he's not a girl. You dressed him the same as his sister because she had twins, so she had one boy and one girl. They were both dressed in the same clothes as kids, so everyone blames her for why he turned out to be a she.
Oh.
Which I'm like, that's not really the case, because I'm like, if you look at the other twin, she pretty much is, even though she's biologically a girl, she goes more by it like being tomboyish. So I'm like, she's no way the typical standard girl. Like she will not be seen in a dress. Like she's never been in a dress since she was about 4. Because she's like, yeah. So I'm just like, yeah. News makes shit worse.
Yep.
They're trying to start things for who knows what type of reasons. I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he decided to ban mobile phones in England schools, and I was like, yeah, well, that's going to work. So, good luck with that, mate.
I know.
It's like, it's not going to work. And I was like, the only reason why most kids have a mobile phone if they're in primary school or secondary school is so that their parent can contact them on the way home from school if they walk home.
Yep.
But I was like, you're taking a child's phone, but it's probably the only thing that their parent has to talk to them if they work late hours.
Precisely.
So I was like, I don't really. And then he decided to say, oh, that children need to learn English and maths until they're 18. It's like, yeah, good luck with that.
Because I remember when we was allowed to have our phones in school, and then one of the heads at the time, she suddenly decided that phones were banned from school completely.
Mm.
But then when she left, everyone was like, oh, fuck this. And then all the kids started bringing their phones in and out again.
Yeah, I felt like they try and ban it, but it's like, I feel like it's not something they can enforce. And I'm also like, most people's kids have a phone because they walk to school by themselves. Is a parent really going to let their 10-year-old child walk to school by themselves and not have contact with them? What if something happens to their kid? They ain't going to know where they are. Schools definitely don't ring fucking people's parents, because I fell over in school as a kid and my mum wasn't made aware at all until she came to pick me up at the end of the day, and I still had a red face. And that was hours later.
Mm.
Because I fell on concrete because I was on a bouncy hopper, fell on concrete, smashed my nose on the floor. None of my teachers rang my mum to be like, oh yeah, just heads up, your child's whacked her fucking nose. It didn't break it or nothing, but it was still red by the end of the day. My mum takes one look at me and she's like, what did you do? And I was like, oh yeah, I did that at break time. She's like, she looks at my teacher and she's like, well, you didn't phone me to tell me that.
Yeah, and what did your teacher say then when you
My
meant to?
my teacher was like going, well, we don't, like, she turned around and was like, well, we can't ring people's, like, parents for every little thing that happens to your kid. And my mum's like, yeah, but she could have broke her nose. My mum took me to the hospital because she didn't know if I had broke it or not, because it was quite red. It wasn't just like a little bit red. It was like Rudolph the Red-Nosed fucking Reindeer. That's how red it was. That she was concerned I broke my nose. They looked at my nose. It was fine. They were just like, yeah, I just really smashed it really hard.
Was it not painful though?
Yeah, it did hurt, but my school's thing was anything that hurt, they just give us a wet paper towel. I don't know why. I don't know what they thought that would solve. It was either a wet paper towel, or if you had like a freaking injury, it was either like an ice pack with a wet paper towel.
Hmm.
I remember that I had to go to the nurse with Nicola because she had a nosebleed. And the lady literally was like, here's a wet paper towel. I was like, that's not really going to solve her nosebleed, but all right. And then she had a headache. So we goes to the school nurse with a headache. She gives Nicola a wet paper towel. I'm like, what's a wet paper towel going to do? I was like, I feel like that's just going to make her more ill. And she's like, well, we can't give you, like, painkillers. And I'm like, I'm sure you can if you just ring her mum. She had ones in her bag for a reason, not because, you know, she just carried them around. Her mum was like, she knew that she got headaches quite a lot. And the school knew that they were allowed to give her it because obviously her mum had to sign a piece of paper to say she has these in her bag. Because weirdly, as a kid, we got, like, checked. We had our bags checked as a kid. I don't know why. I don't know what they thought that we were carrying.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, they used to do like unexpected bag checks. So we'd get a random teacher just come in barge in our classroom, and she'd be like, bags on the table now, like unzip your bag, like whether you've got a front pocket on your bag or the inside of your bag, I need to see everything. And because Nicola had tablets and stuff in her bag for like different like health conditions and stuff, and even though the school were aware of it, her mum had to sign stuff so that they knew it was in her bag. They still tried to take it off her, and I'm like, she needs that. I was like, if she doesn't have it, you don't know what's going to happen. And they were like, she can't have it, and I was just like, I think she can. Her mum signed a piece of paper. I was like, you can go to the office and ask. And Nicola's mum went mental. She came to the school like when we finished, and she was there kicking off at reception, going, "You can't take this off my child. My child needs that. I signed a piece of paper as you asked. You can't just try and take it off her in a bag check." And we had a kid that randomly he had a bread knife in his sock. I don't know why. I don't know why he thought a bread knife in his sock was the best choice.
Who knows?
It was a weird place to put a bread knife because they looked at him and they were like, his sock looked a bit lumpy, and they're like, pulls it down and it's just a bread knife. And I was like, doesn't that hurt against your skin? Because what if you accidentally like fall over? You're like, I know it's a freaking like normal knife that's not that sharp, but still, it's like, what are you doing?
Might have just been trying to see like what he can get away with.
I don't know. Some of us did try and get away with murder. I mean, me and Nicola got away with hiding in a wooden playhouse and not going to a lesson, and they couldn't find us. Bearing in mind, they literally, at this point, they had about 5 minutes before the end of school to find us before our parents came to get us, because otherwise, you know, they'd have to go, oh yeah, we've lost 2 unaccompanied minors. We don't know where they are.
What happened? Did you and Nicola come up from your hiding place after?
We came out when we could hear Nicola's mum, and we were like, oh shit, because we were like, yeah, we know Nicola's mum's going to shout the freaking playground down waiting for us. So we come out of the playhouse, and her mum's like, "How long have you been in there for?" And we're like, "Since about lunch break time." And she's like, "You didn't go to any classes?" And we're like, "No, we wanted to be in here." And her mum looks at both of us, and she's like, "I'm not happy with you both," but she's like, "At least you didn't get kidnapped." Our teachers look at us like they literally didn't think about looking in the wooden playhouse. So they've been looking everywhere else, bar the one place that they probably could have found us in about 10 minutes. And then me and Nicola had to get sneaky when we did decide to hide again, because I was like, that's the first place they're going to look, is the wooden playhouse. So we had to get smart and think of somewhere else we could hide that they don't know about.
Yeah, where did you hide then the second time?
We had like two like dinner halls, but like one of them had like, it had a random door that literally just led to some stairs that led to like a balcony. It doesn't go anywhere. But we decided to hide on the balcony because we're like, they ain't gonna come through this door to try, and it literally just goes up literally just a tiny flight of stairs to a balcony. We're like, yeah, they ain't gonna find us here. So we hide up there. I'm like to Nicola, I'm like, I goes to stand up, and our head teacher walks past to go back in his office, and I'm like, okay, I duck back down just to see if he didn't see me, because I'm like, yeah, they're all looking for us. And he's also like there, being like, he was stressing out because he was like pacing back and forth, being like, if they're not found before either of their mums come from, he was like more Nicola's mum, because Nicola's mum normally picked us both up, and he was like, she's gonna start shouting at me. I can't deal with her shouting at me, because he got shouted at a lot by Nicola's mum because he just did things or just allowed things to happen that she wasn't happy with. She comes anyway. We still haven't been found at this point. Well, we just pop our head up from this balcony and we're like, hello. They're like, fuck's sake. They're like, these kids, where the fuck did they hide? Just why? And every teacher is like, why do you hide? Why do you think it's funny? And we're just like, because we can. It's there. You give us the opportunity. You just turn around and we just leg it. So what do you do? I was like, I'm a kid. I find it funny. And my teacher's like, it's not fucking funny. We're just there pissing ourselves laughing because it's fucking funny. Nicola's mum's just like, please stop doing this. She's like, I just want one day where I pick you both up and you haven't hidden from a teacher. Well, okay. Well, like if we hide in the classroom, just
Why, Nicola's mum would pick you up as well, would she? Or
yeah, because like sometimes because it was easier for me to go with Nicola, because sometimes I got left at school once for like, I was there for about 2-3 hours after school had finished. They tried phoning, obviously, but to no avail.
How come? Was you in like an after school club or?
No, I literally just I was forgotten to be picked up, because preferably my mum couldn't pick me up at that point because she'd sprained her ankle. So my biological father was meant to get me, and obviously he forgot that it was him that was meant to get me. He didn't get me until like 4 or 5, and my school finished at like 3. So I was like, great. I literally just had to sit with a teacher just awkwardly, like, and she's like, when do you think he's going to be here? And I was like, not anytime soon. It's like, it's him, he ain't fucking going anytime soon. So Nicola's mum just used to get me because she's like, it's easier, and it would be easier for my mum to just walk to Nicola's and pick me up from there, or let me walk up the hill to sort of meet her halfway. But Nicola's mum would have to watch me walk just so that nothing happened, because technically I would have been in her custody at that point.
Yeah.
So if it happened, it would kind of be her fault. So either her mum would watch me. I think one time Damon did watch me walk up the road, which was weird because he was a few years older than us. But it was like, I'd never really had much like contact with him as a child. So just like having to walk with him up the road silently, like we didn't say anything to each other. And then he's just like, he's like, bye bye now. He's like, just walk up the road. So I thought, okay, bye. Like, bye, and then now I see him and I'm just like, yeah, I remember as a child when you used to just have to watch me walk up the road and we just used to be silent as hell.
Yeah, I was never like I never did stuff like that in school. Like I never used to like go on the mitch or anything.
Yeah, I only did it, I think, once or twice in like high school because I didn't want to go to a lesson. So I was just like, I won't go. I had
So
Welsh, and
you just thought, fuck it,
I didn't
I'll
want to
just
go to my
go
Welsh
on.
teacher because I honestly hated her, and it was like the minute that you literally had like a foot in the door of the classroom, you weren't allowed to speak anything in English. So I couldn't say my name in English. I had to say it in Welsh, which I was like, I can't speak Welsh. I was like, to where I was like, the only fucking thing I can tell you is the numbers, Borodar, and I was like, I like coffee, which I don't, but I was like, that's the only thing I can remember. So anything else, I'm gonna say in English, and she just would not let you. And I'd ask her to go to the toilet, and she's like, yeah, you gotta say it in Welsh. And I'm like, I was like, I need pee. And she's like, gotta say it in Welsh. I'm like, I don't know it in Welsh. I don't even want to try. I'm just like, just let me pee. So I just didn't go, and she kept comparing me to my brother because she also taught my brother. So she normally have him like the same day as me, but like 2 hours before. And she's just like, he's so annoying. And she's like, you're so quiet. And I just look at her like, I don't like you. It's fine. So if I don't speak, then I don't have to try and speak in Welsh and butcher it very badly. She made us do something in pairs, and I just said it in English, and she's like, no, you've got to say it in Welsh. I'm like, no, I'm saying it in English. I don't care. Mark me down for it. I was like, I'm not doing it. Like,
You wanna know what I never understood? Is why they gave us certain lessons in school like French and that.
yeah, I did Spanish, but I literally only did it for like a year. And then they took languages out my school completely. And then they were like, the only one that we had to do was Welsh. And I was like, why? It's like, I don't know Welsh. It's like Spanish, I had a really weird Spanish teacher, and I don't know what her problem was. But she'd go on about like just people who were British in general. And I'm like to her, I'm like, all of,
Mm.
I looked at her and I'm like, most of the people, like, looked around my classroom, I'm like, most of my class, apart from a few, are British. I was like, others are from other places, but I was like, you're kind of not in the right place if you don't like British people. And it was because we'd say things wrong, and she's like, that's not how you say it, you have to say it correctly in Spanish. And I'm like to her, I'm like, I've literally only just started learning it, I'm sorry.
Mm.
And she made us watch this really weird YouTube video. It was about an hour long, and I just got bored. I turned around and I was like, what relevance does this have? And she's like, you have to watch it. And I'm like, I don't want to.
And I think it's silly having like French and stuff because it's not like you're gonna go and live over in France, is it?
I was like to her, I was like to her, I was like, I don't know. I was like to her, I was like, I can't speak French. And she's like, well, have any of your family been? I was like to her, I was like to her, at that point, I was like, my auntie had lived in France for 14 years. I was like, yeah, my auntie lived in France for 14 years. Don't freaking know why. Because, honestly, don't see why. But I'm like, my auntie's been like, yeah, she probably wouldn't go back now.
Plus, as well, even if you did go to France for like a holiday, it would most likely end up being years after the fact anyway, which would mean that you'd have to learn it all again.
I was like to her, I was like, most people go to like foreign countries, and I'm like, most foreign countries can also speak English as well. I was like to her, I was like, it's like people were like to me when I went to Amsterdam. They're like, oh, you're gonna have to be able to speak what they speak, and I'm like, they can't speak English. I was like, you know, obviously it's nice if you can speak in their language, but most people, tourist wise, that go can't, and they just kind of have to deal with, okay, we're gonna have to speak to them in English because that's probably all they're going to understand.
Yeah, did you know that you can also get like I don't know where you can get them from, but you can get like speaking translating machines.
Yeah, I know that like my mum, like quite a few of the Chinese students had like they have like a version of WhatsApp, but it's called like WeChat, which has a like speaking translator in it. But the translator is so funny because certain things they say it really butchers the translation in English to something completely different than what they've actually tried to ask.
Does it?
Yeah, one girl was trying to ask about the nearest, like, sort of supermarket because obviously she wanted to do a food shop. It had translated it to something completely different, and my mum's there trying to piece together what she's wanting. And because she kept pointing towards the direction where said supermarket was, my mum's like, oh, do you mean the Aldi? And she's like, yeah, the Aldi. She's like, what way do I have to walk to go there? And I was like, yeah, but I was like, yeah, sometimes translators are really funny because they just. And I'm like, yeah. I was like to my mum, it's like, yeah, when you
So she
speak,
meant Aldi then, in other
yeah.
words.
I'm like, but it
Yeah.
literally butchered it to something. It wasn't even close to Aldi. It was something completely different. My mum was just got to piece together what she was on about because sometimes she'd just look at them and go, I don't know. Because some of them could not speak one word of English because most of them were like Japanese students and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, most of them don't know English before they come here. Some do. Most of them don't. I'm just like, I'm like, they're going, if they don't, I'm like, yeah, how are they going to communicate with people if their translator app doesn't work? Doesn't really go very well at that point.
I know, and it's not like you can take a translator with you, can you? As in a person, I mean.
Yeah. I've had some people that have literally, like, when I worked at HMRC, I had to get a physical, like, translator on the phone because someone couldn't speak one word of English. And the only thing that they could say is, I need I need an interpreter. So I'm like, they're going, oh great, this is gonna be fun to try and get an interpreter on the phone because I'm like, I have to speak, and then they've got to translate it, and then I've got to freaking. It's like freaking middleman, and I'm like, they're going. There was this woman that was like, she's talking to the translator, telling him things that I did not ask, and he's translating it to me, and I'm like, they're going. Okay, this is going to be a long phone call. My boss was like, my manager's like to me, he was like, you've done one call in the last 3 hours. It's like to him, I had a lady on the phone. She needed a translator. What was I supposed to do? And I was like, sometimes they don't pick up, or sometimes you get people that like, because they had to give us an 8 like number and letter code before we could speak to them.
Yeah.
And most of them would not give me an 8 number and letter code, or they just go, I don't know it. And I'm like, I literally would have to put the phone down on that interpreter and then phone back up the number. And it's like, I'm like, there you go, yeah, this is going to be hard. Because I'm like, I've got a customer on the phone that doesn't understand any English. And it's not, I couldn't even go to them, oh yeah, can you phone back? I did that to a few people and I got told off for it. I was like, I literally can't understand the customer. I can't transfer them through to anyone because I wasn't allowed to transfer to other people in my department. So I was like, my only other option was either hang up on them or ask them nicely. I know they'd been in the queue for about an hour and a half. Not my problem. But I was like, can you phone back? My manager's like, well, you should be dealing with their queries. I'm like, I can't hear them. Physically can't hear the customer on the other line. Most people would phone me in their car while driving. I had one guy that's like, he's like, I'm going through a really long tunnel. If it cuts off, can you phone me back? And I was like, I don't know if I'm allowed to do that. But I'm like, why are you phoning me in your car while you're driving under a tunnel at this point? And he's like, I'm going to work. And I'm like, I'd rather you get to work and then phone HMRC rather than ring them while you're driving. But fair enough. If you want to crash your car, that's your choice.
Exactly.
I can't judge you, but I'm also like, and he's like, his hands free. And I was like, I don't think that's the point. I was like, at this point, they'd made it illegal to like that you're not allowed to touch your phone if it's in a phone holder in your car. So I was like, why are people? I was like, why are they phoning me? I was like, whether your phone is hands free and you're driving, I was like, you're still gonna have to touch your phone to make sure it doesn't lock. And I was like, you're also gonna have to press your phone to end the call with me. So I was like, you're still technically breaking the law, and you're also breaking the law by talking to me on the phone.
Precisely.
One woman kept trying to tell me, she's like, I know everything about the tax office. I'm like, if you know everything about the tax office, why are you phoning me asking me a question if you know the answer? And she got really pissy at me because she was like, you're not helping me. And I was like to her, I was like, I've answered your question. I don't know what more you wanted. And then my manager would get mad at me because people would start shouting at me and then I'd just stay quiet. And I'm like to him, I'm like, I'm not going to try and talk while they're shouting at me. Because I did that once and a lady was like to me, shut up, I'm talking. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry. Okay. And then he wondered why I wanted to leave.
Well, I know you're unemployed now, but I think leaving HMRC, I think that was the good thing you can do.
I was like, I've had some people be like, did I regret leaving? And I'm like to people, I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm like, obviously, yeah, it's kind of like, you are without an income at that point. But I'm like to people, I'm like, if your job makes you that unhappy, you can't really stay in it. I've seen people do it. I've had family members stay in a job for like 30, 40 years and then leave because they hate it that much that they're just like, yeah, can't do this anymore.
Yeah, I know. There's no point in you staying in a job that you hate, is there?
No, I'm like, you may need the money, which is why a lot of people sort of stick it out a lot of the time. But I'm kind of like, that shouldn't be the only incentive that you have to stay in a company is, oh, but I need the money. It's like, you may need the money, but you can always try and work something out for the time being that you're not working.
Yeah.
Whether it's taking on like extra jobs and trying to sell stuff or whatever. Like, I know that Liam's mum's she's made like jewelry and coasters and stuff, but she's trying to sell them now because
Is
she
she
took.
having any luck with it, or?
She sold quite a few because she has a store, like a shop shelf in like the next town over from like where she lives, and then she sold some because she works in a hospital, but she kind of only does like sort of shifts as and when she wants to, so it's not like, oh, she has to work every day. She can kind of work one day and then maybe not work for like a month but still be employed with the hospital. So she's sold some with people she works with. I got 2 off her that I didn't pay for. She just gave them to me because I stayed there for her birthday. So it was kind of, she wasn't going to charge me for them, but she said if I did want others, I did say to her, obviously I would pay for them because I don't expect her to give me them for nothing. Because otherwise she's out of like sort of like pendants and like everything. But she's made like an Etsy page at the moment, so obviously she's hoping that that will bring in a bit more business for her as well. But she just keeps trying like different things just to get sort of an idea of what people want. But because she couldn't do, she did want to go to a craft fair originally, and then it kind of got cancelled because it was raining.
Oh.
And I was like, it's Wales. So I was like, it's to be expected in Wales. So she was kind of like, because she couldn't do that, it kind of made it harder for her to sort of know what's sort of popular and what isn't with her pendants, so that she didn't have to waste like the glass and stuff doing things. So she's kind of broken some of them because she's like, she's going to do something else with them. And then she's been testing out with like coasters at the moment. She had one set that she didn't really like, so I think she sold them to like someone that she knows, because
Yeah.
they said that the colours that the coaster came out in would be good for their living room, and then she's just testing others. But she's like, because of selling them on Etsy, she doesn't know, because they're like obviously glass, how she's going to be able to post them without them being damaged. Because otherwise, like, if things arrive damaged, obviously people can just request the money back, and then basically she's lost all of the money that it cost to make the product.
Yeah.
Because she was like, like each coaster only cost her like £1 something to make, and the necklace cost her like about £1, and then the boxes are like, she got a box of like 500 from like Amazon for like 59p or something like that. So she's like, she doesn't know how much to charge, but she doesn't want to take the piss either. Which is fair enough.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm ending up doing more Scrabble frames now, which is just fun.
Oh.
Because I did one for like Nicola's cousin for her like sort of quiet like room and like gaming area, because I know that I just thought it would be a nice thing for her to have on the wall. And then I mentioned to Liam about doing one because his mum has one like at theirs, but it's only got like certain people's names on. But obviously, he wanted one with like an abundance of people's names on. And then this Scrabble frame has just gone from a few people's names to just hell, because he just keeps adding more people. And I'm like, we're gonna just have a really massive frame of just everyone's just gonna be like, who's blank, 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 and Liam's just gonna be like, oh yeah, they're from a game, or they're this, or they're that, and I'm just gonna be like, I don't really know. It went from it was only meant to be mine, his name, his mum's, all of the pets that they've ever had, which collectively they've both had about 32 pets.
Holy shit. That's a lot of pets, isn't it?
They've had a lot of pets. They've had like goldfish. She's had quite a few geckos, and his mum's had quite a few horses, and she still has. She's got 3 now, but she has had about 16 horses in her life, which is a lot of horses.
Yeah.
I was like to him, that's a lot of pets. I was like, do we really need to include all 32? He was like, yes, we must include all 32. I'm like, okay, fair enough. And then he's just added more people's names in. So now we've just got people from games, people from like films, people he knows, people
Whoever's watching us, hello.
he's got like people who he's worked with. I'm like to him, I'm like, what have I caused now? Because he's just there with Scrabble letters, just trying to make more words. And I'm just like to him, we're not going to have a frame big enough for all these words soon enough. And he was like, we'll make it work. I was like, we'll make it work. I was like, I'm the one sticking all these letters into a frame. Yeah, I'm the one doing this. I'm the one that freaking mentioned about, because he wanted to pay, like he wanted to do one, and then he ran out of like words on a website, and then it wanted like it was like £35 that they wanted for a Scrabble board, and I was like, to him, I can do it for a lot less. I could buy the pieces. All we have to do is buy a frame, which is probably going to cost barely anything from fucking Asda or like wherever. So he's like, okay, fine, we'll make one. And then it's just turned into hell. I'm just like, what have I caused? I debated messaging his mum earlier going, I think your son has an issue with Scrabble pieces. He's just going to go to sleep, and that's all he's going to see is just Scrabble pieces. So I was like, at least if you ever want a game of Scrabble, he's got enough pieces. So he's got enough pieces of his own. He's got about 500 odd, and he's used half of them.
Oh, bloody.
Because I had 100 bag, then I had another 100 bag, then I had a 500 bag. I think we've got about like less than 100 left. Because he just keeps making words, and he was there till like 1:30, just putting names. And I'm like to him, I'm like, it's 1:30. Go to sleep. He's like, no, just this one. And he started doing it earlier, and I'm like to him, I'm like, you said after this one you'd be done. An hour later, he's still trying to find Scrabble pieces, and he's like, I need a Y. I'm like, there's a Y right. I was like, I'll help you find. I was like, I don't even know why I'm helping you find a Y to spell more words. I was like to him, the floor's just going to be covered with Scrabble pieces at this point, and he's like, I wonder if there's a record for that. I was like, no. It's like, just don't look into it, because you probably will. Just to try.
So you still staying with Liam then in the week then, or?
Yeah, I still stay at his during the week, and then I normally tend to just come back over the weekend. But like, I'm kind of debating whether I'm gonna keep doing that because it's just kind of like the buses to get back here have gone up, and
Right.
it's kind of a piss take because I didn't realise last week when I didn't know they went up, and I went to get on the bus, and then when he told me the price, I'm like, I looked at what I had in my hand, and I was like, yeah, I don't have that amount, so I had to look to see if I had change, which I luckily did, but obviously I was like, I shouldn't have to pay that much for a bus ticket. Because it was like
Mm.
£6.50 for a bus ticket. It was £6, which is still pricey for a bus. But
And
I was like, when I'm doing that like every week, and I worked out how much it would cost, I
can
was
you
like,
not do one me and Nicola have done and get yourself like a bus pass?
I tried, but they were like, they wouldn't. I didn't qualify for basically the same like similar bus pass to what Nicola had because they were like, well, you don't. They were like, we can't see anything physically wrong with you or medically wrong with you from because they had to look at my medical records. And they were just like, yeah, no. So it's just like, great, I'm just paying £6.50 for a bus ticket. But pretty much everyone in the area has moaned anyway because they put the prices up twice in 1 week.
Oh.
So a lady got on the bus like the one day that I got on there, and she'd paid like a certain amount the week before, and then she got on that day, and then they told her a completely different amount, and she's like, well, it was like this amount last week, so why is it changed? She's like, you can't keep changing it all the time because people get confused, people don't know if they're paying for a bus ticket. And I'm just like, there going, I'm like, yeah, it's not really ideal. And I was like, she was like, oh, do you live in the area? I was like, yeah. I was like, live in the area. I was like, don't like it, but we won't go there. And she's like, where are you originally from? And I'm like, Cardiff. And she's like, oh yeah, I go to Cardiff quite a lot. She's like, I have friends in Cardiff. She's like, why did you move from Cardiff to here if you don't mind me asking? I'm like, wasn't my choice. She's like, yeah, I would have stayed in Cardiff, love.
Mm.
Yeah, so would I.
So are you and Liam still not having any luck then with moving in together, or?
Like his mum is kind of like, she's like, obviously his mum and his stepdad gave us the go ahead because obviously he was like, it wasn't his place to sort of say, oh yeah, like, you know, you can move in. So he was like, he spoke to both of them because he was like, because it was his stepdad's mum's, and even though they both are on the lease agreement and on the mortgage, it was kind of their decision whether they would allow me to sort of move in with him and whatever.
Mm.
But they both said like that's fine. They were like, obviously the only thing that we would ask is obviously that both of you pay rent to them because obviously they have to pay it for the mortgage on the flat, and also some of it goes towards the mortgage of their own house.
Mm.
And I was like, yeah, that's fair enough. I was like, obviously I don't expect to live here for free. And because we seen his mum for her birthday, and then she popped down with his nan because she wanted to go to IKEA. And oh dear Jesus Lord, was that IKEA trip eventful? Because she decided she didn't want to go to IKEA on the Thursday when she was supposed to be leaving Liam's mum's to go home, and because she has to pass through Cardiff anyway to go home. Obviously, she was going to do the IKEA trip on the Thursday. She decided Wednesday, halfway through the day, let's go to IKEA. Liam's mum's like, what, right now? You want to go IKEA now? You want me to drop everything and go to IKEA? So they drove to us because they were like, oh, we'll go see like Liam and Chelsea for a bit, and then they go to IKEA. They left IKEA at like 9:30. They got to us for around about like 2, 3 in the afternoon. They'd been at IKEA for hours, and I was like to Liam's mum, I was like, did she actually buy anything? Because if she didn't, dear Jesus Lord, you're walking around IKEA with like a, you know, with one person, she probably would have wanted to kill her, and she also had to drive back with her, which was worse. Because I think she just wanted her to go home. She's like, she did buy a few things, but oh god, she's like, never again am I going to IKEA with her. So, yeah, I wouldn't either.
Uh,
As like, if I go to a shop, I go with the intention of I know what I'm getting, so I just go in and get out. I don't hang around and look through every aisle, preferably in IKEA. I was like to her, I was like, did you at least get food just so it softened the blow? She's like, yeah, I got my food. She's like, I got my meatballs. So she's like, that was the only good thing about the trip. She's just like, the rest, not so much. And his mum was like, she's like, you can move in whenever you want. She's like, obviously, she's like, obviously you have to pay rent. She's like, I know you're happy with that. I was like, yeah, that's fine. I was like, obviously, I wouldn't expect to live here for free. I was like to her, I was like, I would give her money now if she wanted, but she was like, well, you don't technically live there, so she's like, I'm not going to take any money off you.
so hang on, if she's saying you can move in whenever you want, then why don't you just pack your bags and move in?
Because I know that, like, I was going to when I still obviously had a job, because obviously, like, I was told, like, I should wait until I knew if my job was kind of permanent, which obviously it ended up being extended, but obviously I ended up leaving. And now I don't have a job. I'm kind of like, well, I don't really have an income that I sort of can pay her money. So I'm kind of like, until I find something, then I'm kind of like, that's what we've kind of agreed on, is once I find something, then I can kind of just go, okay, fuck it, why not? But until then, it's like, I don't want to make that decision and then, like, sort of not be able to back out of it at a later date.
Yeah.
Because then obviously Liam's mum will expect like 2 lots of money rather than 1. And also, obviously, I don't want him to get evicted or kicked out. And I'm like, he's already stressing about the whole council tax when he's not a student anymore.
Oh.
Because, like, the council tax for where he is quite high. And obviously, he's like, how the hell are we going to... He was like, how the hell are we, me and him, going to afford it? I was like, I don't really know. I was like, we'll figure that bridge when it comes to it. But right now, I was like to him, his mum was like, she's like, just don't think about it right now, because she's like, it's not a right now kind of thing. But she's like, we just have to think about it when it comes to it kind of thing. And work something out between us all kind of thing.
Yeah, because I mean, eventually you and Liam are going to want to move in together, aren't you? Like, on your own sort of thing.
Well, yeah, like we've already said, like we would, but obviously he knows that I want to sort of just find another employment, and then sort of I know roughly that obviously I'm stable. Which he was like, is fair enough. He's like, I don't really expect you to put yourself in a position you don't need to be in. I'm like, the choice.
Because I mean, because it wouldn't just be rent you have to pay. You have to pay for your food and everything as well, too, wouldn't you?
Well, I already pay for like my food anyway, sort of when I'm there, like during the week, because I normally have to get like lunches in and like tea for like when I'm there, because obviously like there is days where I'm completely like, there's one day where I'm by myself like the full entire day and I don't sort of see him kind of thing. So obviously I need food then. So obviously we both separately just buy our own food. Obviously we just get like lunches for like when we need, and then obviously tea. But obviously sometimes, because he's gone back to uni, obviously there's days where obviously he's on campus, so he will just get something then, or like get something on his way like home. So obviously then it's just me having something in the flat for food, which is kind of like fun. And then obviously we would half all the bills. Because obviously I said to him it wouldn't be fair, like obviously even though I would be paying rent to his mum, I was like, obviously we're still going to have to half the gas, the water bill, and like the Wi-Fi bill. So we looked at like how much each one costs at the moment, just so that we have like an idea of like how much we would both be paying, like when that obviously happens. just so that it's not like a surprise of like, ooh. Because he was like, are you happy to pay that kind of thing? Because he was like, I don't want you to like feel I'm taking the piss or whatever.
Mm.
And he was like, because he's lived with people before, because he lived in like a sort of like shared like house kind of thing, but obviously things didn't go well with that, and he didn't really like the people too much that he lived with. So he was like, that was a little bit more not fine. And then obviously at that point, after he sort of was made to leave that place, like his mum was moving to where she lives with like obviously his stepdad, and he didn't want to go there, so that's why he moved to Cardiff, which he kind of feels like he was kind of pushed to, rather than like, I mean, I think he probably would have, but he did feel pushed to make a decision quite quickly.
Yeah.
Because he knew he didn't want to go with them, because it was just like, it's in the middle of nowhere. Unless you drive like where they live, like you are pretty much screwed. So it's like, we went there at Christmas, and it was like, if we wanted to sort of like go to the local like Sainsbury's, or like, because the only really shops that we could go to was either Sainsbury's or Co-op, she was like, message and I'll take you to the shop. But she was like, I don't want to be a taxi service, which was fair enough. But it was just
Yeah.
like, we would have to sort of, sometimes we were waiting to see if she would go to the shop leading up to like before Christmas Day, because obviously we knew the shops would be shut for a few days. And she was going, and she was like, if you guys want to come, or if you need anything, let me know. I'm going to be leaving soon. And we both needed stuff. So we were kind of like, okay, fine, we're going to have to go. Otherwise, we're not going to have it. But it's like, yeah.
But yeah, it would be nice, wouldn't it, for you and Liam to move in together eventually?
Well, yeah, like we've been saying it, because obviously we were like, obviously we've been together like obviously over like a year odd now. So we were like, obviously it's not as if we're like rushing into things. We were like, there are a lot of people that move in with someone like 2 months into their relationship, or like even fucking 3 months. And we're like, that is a bit too soon to move in with someone when you don't really know that person much. And obviously you don't know what can happen.
Exactly, because like, what if you end up splitting up or whatever? You know what I mean?
It's kind of like, if you end up splitting up, and like obviously sometimes some people have like, their own homes before moving in with someone. It's like one of you is giving up that home to move in with the other, or like vice versa. So it's like, then you're kind of, one of you's in a shitter position. I wonder where Nicola is. I haven't seen her.
I haven't got a clue. I have messaged her and I've asked if she's okay, but as of yet, she's not responded.
It's kind of weird. I don't know if it's because she's still scared about next week or the week after.
Yeah.
I know she's got a few more hospital appointments, but I know she hates really the hospitals in general.
I know. Sometimes, though, depending on the situation, it can be quite horrible.
Yeah, I know that, like, because I know the one appointment that she's scared about, I know that she didn't do it last time because she freaked out and just like had a really massive breakdown and couldn't do it. So obviously they're trying to do it again, which I think is what's worrying her more, because she knows the situation that happened last time that she thinks is going to happen again.
I know. I have suggested to her. I've said to her, like, why can't her mum go with her, or somebody go with her?
Yeah, I mean, I've been with her a couple of times, and I've kind of said to her, like, obviously, I know that there's certain situations that I'm like to her, I'm like, yeah, she can't really go to some appointments by herself, because like she does sort of break down, or she'll like refuse to do certain things that, like, obviously, like, they want to physically sort of, like, do, and she kind of just won't do it. And then I'm like, well, you won't find out what happens or what's wrong if you're not going to let them do it.
Yeah. Sometimes, though, it can be quite, like, depending on what they want to do with you, it can be quite scary.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to quite, like, I pretty much went to loads of appointments by myself. I had, like, an entire year where I was back and forth to the hospital, like, pretty much every month for different tests. And, like, 3 of them, I was in absolute agony before them. And then I'm like, to the doctor, I'm like, you've made me do this to myself. It's not as if, I've done this on purpose. I'm like, I'm doing this because it was by your request. Because I had one where they moaned at me and then they sent me back in the waiting room and then I had to go back to physically do a test because they were like, yeah, no, you need to go back and sit in the waiting room for like 20 minutes. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I was like, I wanted to go home and I was just like, there. I was like, I've been here. I was like to the doctor, I was like, I've been here from literally 11. My appointment was at 1, but I was like, there's no way I could get a later bus that would have got me there on time. So I was like, I had to get the one that got here right at 11. I was like to her, I was like, you made me have a full bladder that I had to have an hour odd before my appointment. And I wasn't allowed to pee until after the appointment was done. I needed to piss myself. And I'm like there going, how the fuck do you expect me to hold my pee for this long? I was like to her, it's like, generally that's what you tell people not to do. But you're telling me to do it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't hold my pee. And then I'm like, fuck it, I'm just going to pee before my appointment. Probably not going to have enough in my bladder. Did I? No. Did I have to go back and sit in the waiting room? Yes, I did. Did I need to piss myself again? Yes, because they kept telling me, like, you have to just keep having fluids until you need pee. And I'm like, yeah, but how long am I going to have to wait to be seen? And I was like, I can't fucking walk. At this point, I was like, it's like, you want me to walk? But I was like, at this point, my bladder is at a point where it's like, yeah, if I walk, I feel like I'm just going to piss myself right here in a waiting room of about 50 odd other people. I was like to where it's like, that's not really what I want.
Well, they wanted to test your weed, did they?
Oh no, they were like, because they wanted to check like my ovaries and stuff, because obviously I have a condition where it's like they have like basically like they basically don't look as they're supposed to look. And that obviously they know pretty much now, but they're just kind of like, they're just like, oh yeah, like, they're like, oh yeah, like if you get one, they're like, it may go by itself, it may not. They were like, you'll know if something ruptures. I'm like, thanks. I was like to the doctor, I was like, thanks for that, because I'm going to be scared every time I feel pain now that if something ruptures, I have to, like, because they were like, if I feel, like, sharp pain in certain, like, areas, they were like, oh, like, you may have to rush yourself to a hospital. And I was like, yeah, but I don't really want to have to do that all the freaking time. And then be told it's not what I thought it was. And sit in a hospital waiting room for hours. I've done that before.
Have you?
Yeah, I sat in a hospital waiting room for like nearly like, I think 4 or 5 hours before. Because they were like, oh yeah, just sit here. And I was like, yeah, great, choice. It's like when I went in a CT scan. That was fun. Stuck me in a CT scan machine and then I'm like, oh yeah, this sound is not very nice round my fucking ear. Like, I wonder why most people don't like this machine. It stops halfway through. And the lady's like, you have to be still. I'm like, the machine's not fucking doing nothing now. Because it's literally stopped. And I'm like, you're telling me I can't move, but I'm also like, where my head is basically in this machine. I was like to her, I don't feel safe. And I was also like, I didn't mention to them that I basically have jewelry in my stomach. And she's like, do you have metal on you at all? And I'm like, yeah, in my stomach. And she's like, can you remove it? And I'm like, nah, I can't remove it at this point because I'd not had it that long enough that I could take it out. And she's like, I can try and carry on doing this test, but she's like, I don't know if it's going to mess with the results. And I was like to her, but it's on 2 completely different parts. So I was like, you're not testing that part though. So I was like, wouldn't it be fine? And she's like, I don't know, we'll find out. I was like, right. I was like, if not, I'm gonna have to come back and do this shit again. It's like, fun. One of them looked at me and was like, you're very brave. He's like, you've had a lot of tests this year. I was like, yeah. I still got more, haven't I? He looked and he was like, I was like, it's like, didn't really soften the blow, did you? And then he was like, how do you feel? I was like, what about the amount of tests I've done? I was like, how am I supposed to feel? I was like, he took out my file. I was like to him, I was like, is that my file? And he's like, yeah. I was like, why is my file so thick? He's like, because you've had a lot of stuff. It's like, fun. I was like to him, I was like, do files normally look like that? He's like, no, sometimes we get people's files that are barely nothing. Mine is like freaking pages and pages of just notes. I was like, yeah. I was like to him, I was like, can I read one? He went out the room, so I just opened my file when he wasn't there. I was like, I'm preferably not supposed to do this, but I was like, it's mine. It's not like I was reading someone else's. One of them I was just like, what the fuck are they on about? I was like, one, they didn't tell me the results to, so I literally found out myself. He walked back in the room, and I don't look myself at this point, and he was like, what's wrong? I goes, I don't know why I decided to drop myself in it. I was like to him, I was like, oh yeah. I was like, oh, you know, I mentioned XYZ test I did. I was like, why didn't they tell me that my results were this? And he was like, how do you know that? And I was like, I looked at my file that's right there in front of you. He was like, when did you look at that? I was like, when you left the room. He's like, why would you do that? I was like, it's my file. It's not like I read someone else's. And I was like, I wanted to know what was in it because half the time doctors have not told me shit. Because I don't know why, for some reason they don't tell me all of my results. They just tell me part of what they want to tell me.
I know, when really they should be telling you all of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, most of them don't. Or they just, they try to, for, one condition that they diagnosed me with, they tried to sugarcoat it. And they were like, oh, yeah, it's this. But they were like, there was one doctor that I seen and he was like, yarring. He was like, I don't want to use this word, but he's like, you technically are fucked. I was like, thanks for that, at least. I was like, it's not nice to hear it, but I was like, at least I know I'm technically fucked.
Exactly.
I was like,
it's not nice at all, is it?
I was like, it's not nice, but I was like, fair enough. I was like to him, he was like, I don't know why he decided to tell me about his life, and he was like, I have a wife. I was like, do you tell her medical things? I was like, do you tell her she's fucked? Because I wonder how she's still with you. He was like, no, I use a little bit more nicer words. I was like, couldn't you do that with your patients? Me right now.
And what did he say then?
He was like, well, he's like, sometimes, we have to give it bluntly to patients. I was like, yeah, but there's a nicer way to be blunt about things. I was like to him, I know I'm fucked. I was like to him, I've seen more doctors than I probably should have in my entire existence. I was like, 2016, I saw a doctor every month from literally January to December. I probably saw a doctor every month, maybe 2. Nicola came with me 3 times. I had the same doctor twice. He looked at me, he looks at Nicola. He thought she was my sister. I looked at him, I goes, I put my face to Nicola's and I'm like, how does this resemble this in any way, shape or form? And he was like, one of you could be adopted. I was like, I looked at Nicola, I was like, am I adopted? I was like, you didn't tell me. I start to fake crying at this point. This doctor's like going, have I just broken your entire freaking existence? He's like, did you not know that? He's like, you didn't know that you were adopted. I was like, she ain't my sister, but it was just funny. We just had to make him. But it's just like someone was like, I'm not adopted, but thanks for that. But it's just like how he thought Nicola was my sister. I don't know. I was like, we don't look alike. And he was like, maybe one of you is adopted. I looked at Nicola. I was like, are you adopted? Should we message your mum? See which one of us is adopted.
Yeah, I've also learned as well that me and Nicola are roughly the same size.
Really?
I know. I thought you were shorter than me.
I know. I was gonna go like Nicola's always been quite short. Like she's one of them people that has never been the tallest. Just whenever she needs something, and she'll always want something from the highest freaking aisle that she knows she can't reach. But she looks at me and she's like, "Can you get that for me?" She did it in a shop before, and the lady just looks, and I'm like, everything she wanted was always on a shelf that she couldn't reach. She's like, Chelsea, from up there, and I'm like, how many do you need? And she's like, I'll have about 4. It's like, I'm just there pulling them down. I'm just
because when we've been out to see that, like we've like stood in front of each other, and we've realised that we're roughly about the same size. Like, I'm slightly taller, like with my shoes on and that.
Yeah. I feel like shoes sometimes always give people a bit of more of a height. I don't know why. I feel like shoes are really weird. It's like one of them things where like people say you shouldn't weigh yourself while wearing shoes because it just doesn't work. Or
especially if you've got steel toe caps though as well, you know.
Oh yeah, I've seen loads of people that like. I was at the hospital once. People get just weighing themselves with their shoes, and I'm like to the lady, I'm like, "Do I take my shoes off?" And she's like, "No, you can keep your shoes on." And I was like to her, I was like, "But doesn't that?" I was like to her, I was like, "Yeah, but the reading's not going to be right because it's going to weigh my shoes." So I was like to her, I was like, "Wouldn't it be better to get the actual what I actually weigh without my shoes on?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, that probably is." And then I had to take my hoodie off because she was like, "Oh yeah, hoodies and like jackets." She was like, "They also like add weight to you that you don't generally have." So I was like, "Oh great." I was like, "It's just fun." I loved when Nicola got so excited about weighing herself. I don't know why. Went to the hospital. I had to weigh myself, and then Nicola's like, "I want to now stand on the scale." I'm like, why are you so excited about it? It's like most people are never excited about like looking at the number on the scale. Nicola was just so excited. She's like, "It's my turn now." I was like to the lady, I was like, write down how much she weighs now, just because she was excited. She just wanted to. I was like, her file's probably somewhere you can find it. I was like, "Oh wait, it's fine." I just don't know why Nicola wanted to weigh herself. And then she's like, "I wonder how much my blood pressure is." I was like, "Probably quite high because we're in a hospital." She knows how high it is. I was like, "It's been high before." I was like to her, I was like, "Yeah, it'd be like her one asthma check when her literal doctor looked at her, took one look at her and said, 'You should be dead right now.'"
Oh, charming, isn't it?
That was his words. He was like, he looked at her and he was like, "Yeah, you should be dead right now." I mean, her asthma levels were higher than they should have been, which technically that number would preferably have meant that she would technically have been she should have technically been dead. He just didn't say it in the nicest way, and like she phoned me and she's like, "Oh yeah, how was your asthma checkup?" She's like, "Technically, legally, I should be dead right now." I was like, "What do you mean you should legally, technically be dead?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, my asthma levels are this much." I was like, "How much are they supposed to be?" She tells me one number, tells me the other one, and I'm like, "Are you sure their readings weren't wrong?" And she's like, "I don't know. I've got to go back tomorrow for them to read it again because they were honestly convinced they'd done it wrong. They checked it the next day. It's gone down. So they're like, okay, maybe it was just a blip in our system." Her asthma levels were like near enough like 600. They're meant to be like 200 and something. And I was like, I was like to her, I was like, do you feel fine? And her mum's like there, like, she was worried for the entirety of that night. She's like, do you feel fine? Do you need anything? Nicola's like, I'm fine, mum.
Mm.
And her mum's like, yeah, but you're. She told her mum like what her asthma levels were, and her mum's like, yeah, but like, I'm concerned because she's like, they shouldn't be that high. She's like, I'm fine, mum. I feel fine. I've felt fine for like the past couple of days. I'm fine. She goes back the next day. She's like, look, mum, see, asthma levels are fine. Don't know why they were worrying. Don't know why they legally said I should have been dead.
Mm.
I was like, it's a fun thing to be told by your doctor. You should legally be dead.
I know that is a bit of a strange
I was just like,
thing for the doctor to say.
I was like to her, I was like, is death coming for you? Is it? I was like to her, I was like, it don't want to come for Sky. Maybe it's coming for you. And she's like, yeah. I was like to her, I was like, yeah, that cat's going to be immortal.
Mm.
Even the vet turned around and said to Nicola, that cat should be dead. I was there when she said it, and I was like, yeah. I looked at her, looked at Sky, and was like, yeah, she technically should be dead. She don't want to, though.
Mm.
She got hit by a lorry, and we had to take her to the vet. Lady's like, how'd she get hit by said lorry? What happened? I was just like, she was led in the road. Self-explanatory.
Mm.
I was like to her, Sky led in road, lorry. I was like to her, I was like, I can reenact it for you if you want, but I may need to use Sky as a prop. And Sky just looked at me, and I was like to Sky, I was like, you did this to yourself. I don't know what your outcome was, but I was like to her, you didn't get the outcome I presumed that you wanted. You're here at a vet's. Again, she'd only been at the vet a week before, and the lady looked and was like, it's not that cat again. She's like, I had you last week. I was like, yeah, no, she got hit by a lorry. Sorry. She's like, can you maybe not have that animal get hit by anything? And Sky got hit by a lorry. Nicola's like, I'm confused. Sky, lorry, near enough dead, but not dead. Because, you know, she survived.
Mm.
Nicola come in at awkward time. I thought she'd be asleep. Basically, it wasn't sleep time for you.
Hey, babe.
She's gotta be like, I ain't sleeping.
Yeah, she's confused. Can you please explain to...
Oh, she's like, now you remember the time that we had to take Sky to the vet because, you know, lorry, cat. She loved that lorry for some reason. I don't know why.
No, I bet she did.
I know. She has an obsession with anything that moves. It's like a bus. The amount of times she's near got hit by a bus. Why are you annoyed with the Wi-Fi? Doesn't it work? I would say get Damon, but I don't know where he is.
Yeah, that's probably why she's not been in for...
It's a Friday. He may be out drinking. Who knows? Or on holiday. Normally, if he goes on holiday is when the Wi-Fi doesn't work. That's normally why she tells him he can't go on holiday, because it doesn't work. He's in bed. Oh, he's in bed. I'm sorry. I just been like, just get him to fix the Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi really does not like Nicola at times.
My Wi-Fi hates me at times as well. No, because sometimes I'll go to upload like just whatever in it, like video files or whatever to YouTube, and it'll take like a good couple of hours. But then when I cancel it, disconnect the internet and then connect it again, it goes faster.
It's kind of weird when that happens. Sky brought you a present, did she, Nicola? Was it a squirrel or a bird? The other day it was a squirrel. Because Sky was trying to chase a squirrel. Don't know why. She has an obsession with animals. And killing things. Be like the time she killed a pigeon and a parrot.
What? She killed a pigeon.
Yeah, she killed a pigeon and a parrot in the same day. The worst thing was the parrot was technically someone's pet. I don't know how she got the parrot. Rest in peace, parrot.
Mm.
Rest in peace, tiny parrot. No, in Sky it could probably have been anything she brought you back. As long as it's not fish. That's if Deb has any left. That cat's eating mini fish in her life.
Yeah, babe. Before you come in, me and Chelsea were saying how, like, I was saying to Chelsea how me and you were like the same size, like roughly.
Hiccups now. For some reason, I don't.
What happened, Chelsea? The thing went black.
Oh, I had a random notification on my iPad that was weird because it didn't click anything, but it gave me a notification that I did. I think.
I thought your internet was, you know.
Oh, I mean, my internet in this house is shit anyway, but yeah. Be like the time I used my entire data in literally the space of one day.
Mm.
Because the Wi-Fi at that point was honestly crap and kept knocking me off because you couldn't connect upstairs. You could only connect downstairs, which defeats the object of Wi-Fi. But the Wi-Fi is crap because obviously everyone is using the same Wi-Fi network, but it's also just shit because my mum decided to go with a company that I was like, why? And the amount of times it kicked me off or my Wi-Fi just decides it doesn't want to work, and I'm like, yeah. I'm also like, I can't use data on my phone either because I barely have any.
Yeah.
Oh no, I literally have 3 gigs of data that's got to last me an entire month. I'm like, 3 gigs can get me anywhere.
Yeah, you can get unlimited data though.
Yeah, I'm debating paying for it myself because, like, 3 gig, I get like 3 gigs of data, so many texts and so many minutes a month, but I'm like, barely really text anyone unless I'm out where I don't have Wi-Fi or if
I
I'm someone.
I use WhatsApp. I do. I don't like. Like, I never ever put credit on my phone, ever.
Yeah. I tend to more use WhatsApp for like either like messaging my nan, because for some reason, like I don't know why. I don't know if it's a setting with her phone or something she's done. But she never gets my texts, so she never replies. Bearing in mind I've texted her multiple times. So I have to WhatsApp her for her to reply, because otherwise, yeah, I ain't getting anywhere. I texted her about 3 times before, and I was like, "Why'd you keep ignoring me?" And she's like, "I'm not ignoring you." I was like, "I text you," and she's like, "I haven't had a text off you. When did you text me?" I sent her a screenshot. She's like, "I don't know why I didn't get them." So I just messaged her on WhatsApp. I'm just like, she replies on that. She can barely use it, but sometimes I get weird emojis that I don't think she knows what any of them mean.
Yeah, but like if you don't know what they mean, then
I don't know. She's 70, but sometimes I think she just clicks it randomly, and also she doesn't really know WhatsApp much or social media. Even though she does have Facebook, the only other time I see my nan on Facebook is normally when it's someone's birthday, because she writes "Happy Birthday" on their Facebook wall. She does it to me. She'll write on my Facebook wall "Happy Birthday," but she texts me before she's done that post. She did it last year. She messaged me at like 6 something in the morning because she was on her way to work. She had to be in work for like 7, and her work is literally 10-15 minutes up the road. It's not as if she had to walk that far. She messaged me at 6, "Happy Birthday," and then she wrote on my wall at like 12 that day, "Happy Birthday." And I'm like, "Nan, you've already said happy birthday, but happy birthday again." To me, from you. If she hadn't already wished me happy birthday. And then she did it a third time, and I was like, "Nan, you've already wished me happy birthday twice. Don't need to wish me happy birthday a third time." Like, I think she forgets half the time, and she's like, "I forget. If I wished you happy birthday," I'm like, "Yeah, you did. You text me."
but is she got dementia or?
No, she forgets. So she was like, because she had my cousins that day because she'd picked like them up from school and whatever. And I was just like, "No, you're fine." As I do generally, she's got dementia, because preferably one of my great grandmother did have dementia. She's dead now. I never really met her though, but yeah, she
Well, she passed away before you were
she
born.
passed away like before I was born, because it was like my great nan's mum. But like I never really knew she was dead, because I never seen her, so I just kind of assumed that, you know, she's still alive, but we just didn't see her for like whatever reason, because sometimes family members, they just don't talk, or they like fall out, or I just thought maybe she's just too far away that we don't see her. And
Yeah.
then when my nan was like, "Oh no, she's dead," and I was like, "When did she die?" And she was like, "Oh, she died way before you were born." So she's like, "That's why you don't know her." But she's like, "Oh, she had dementia. She forgot where she lived." Love her. She didn't even know. Like,
Oh,
she couldn't.
bless.
She couldn't even remember where she lived. She couldn't even remember like her own daughter, like my great nan. She didn't even know who she was. Kept calling her a different name than what her actual name is. I was just like, it's fair enough. I'm like, people that have dementia don't know much at that point. And then she just died because she couldn't remember anything, and she was old anyway. So I was like, fair enough.
Oh, bless her.
I was like, I had a family member die in their sleep, which is why I don't sleep, because I get convinced that I'm going to die in my sleep the same way they did.
Is that the one that you said that you went to see her to see what was going on because you hadn't seen her in a while, and then
Yeah.
you guys got to the house and you found out that she was dead?
Well, yeah, because no one had known, because it was like she lived by herself, so it wasn't like, you know, like if she had other people that lived there, then obviously like we would have been notified. But because she lived alone, and like she was 91 when she died, so it's kind of, she lived by herself.
Like, did any of her? Sorry to cut you off, but didn't any of the neighbors not smell anything? Like, did she not start to rot or anything?
They noticed like a sort of like not a very pleasant smell, but they generally just thought like, a lot of them just thought it was like the sort of gutters, because they'd been playing up like sort of before like she'd actually died anyway, and they had like people out, but they didn't realise until obviously we sort of made people like aware that that's what they were smelling. That a lot of her neighbours kind of felt bad that they didn't realise that it was her, and I was like, well, you wouldn't have known because she barely left her house at that point because she couldn't really walk anyway because she was 91 and she was like she used a cane, but also it was just like she walked very slowly with that cane, so it was like it would take her ages to get to just her front door, let alone outside her sort of like flat area.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's generally why people didn't see her or knew. But it's just like it was quite sad. I didn't really know her, but I was like, you know.
Yeah, when you found, like, was she now starting to rot? Like,
Yeah, like she'd started sort of like decomposing in a sense. So obviously it was kind of, we did kind of like, at that point it was just kind of like, yeah, look, you kind of have to bury her like kind of instantly because they were like, if we don't, it's going to get worse. Because they like, normally if someone dies, you can sort of have time to sort of like plan the funeral because normally they're in a morgue for a while, so it kind of keeps them from decomposing, but she wasn't. So it was kind of literally like you have to have it now rather than later.
yeah.
And like her sort of her family, I think, decided that they either wanted to bury her or cremate her. Like I didn't find out much after that because we were just kind of pushed away from it because we didn't really know her. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like nobody really wanted us to have a say in like her sort of afterlife in a sense.
Like, how long had she been dead for then before you guys found her?
Um, like they did like sort of like check on her, and I think she'd been. They said it was over like coming up to like I think 2 weeks at that point, but obviously just nobody had noticed, which they were like apparently isn't very uncommon. But yeah, it's not
Yeah.
ideal, but also. So,
Yeah, because like, I heard like a story about an elderly woman who had been dead for like 40 years and like nobody had found her.
yeah.
But apparently, right, they found, like, I don't know how they found this bit out there, but apparently they found out that she'd made herself a cup of tea before sitting down in front of her TV and then dying.
Yeah.
Like, how could they have found out that she'd made herself a cup of tea if the tea would have evaporated?
Yeah, I was gonna go. It would be a bit weird.
Or would the tea leaves still be at the bottom of the cup?
Mm. I've always said to family members, like, that's my only thing is like when you die, like, if someone will find you or not.
Yeah.
I don't know why I think about that, but I was like to my family members, I was like, yeah, I'd rather, like, I'm like, I'm scared of death in general, but I was just like, I don't really want to die, but I'd rather be found when I die rather than not be found.
I know. I think that's what a lot of fear people have is, what if I never get found after I'm dead, you know?
I feel like that's like my great nan's been quite like vocal in terms of like her death and everything because she's in her 90s. She's like, I'm not living forever. She's like, I'm 90. She's like, I got bad hips. I can't walk. She's gonna now walk with a Zimmer frame, which she said for years she would never do. Bearing in mind, she needed it when she was about 70, and she just refused. She put it off for ages until now, where she physically can't. It's either Zimmer frame or a cane because otherwise she will fall over.
Yeah.
And she's gone like, oh, like she's made it perfectly clear to everyone in my family and like family friends. She's like, I'm happy to die. She's like, I'm not sad to die. She's like, my husband died. I've lived without him. She's like, I want to be dead now. I was like, it's not really nice that, but fair enough. And I was like to her, I was like, yeah, but you live by yourself with a cat. The cat is Satan, but That little shit.
Yeah, a lot of people like that, don't they? Like, if their partner dies, then they want to
Like,
die,
she'd
then don't
like,
they? So they could be with their partner again.
well, yeah, she'd always said, like, obviously, like, it wasn't. It's kind of weird because it was like, obviously, my grandpa died, and then obviously her husband, my great grandpa, died 2 months after my grandpa died. So they both died the same year, literally 2 months apart. But she was like, it wasn't like there was any warning signs. Like, he got pneumonia, and then he went into hospital, had like surgery and stuff, and obviously he just couldn't fight it, and obviously he died in the end of that. And she obviously had to watch him die. Do it. Well, she didn't even do him a funeral because we'd already been through one. She just kind of was like, I'll just bury him,
Yeah.
and that'd be it. She was like, people can go and say their goodbyes, obviously, and whatever, but she was just like, I wasn't gonna do a funeral. And she was like, to be fair, even if she did one, there wouldn't have been that many people she could invite anyway, because it was kind of like, it would only really be our family. I don't think my great grandpa had any other like living relatives, or if he did, they probably wouldn't have gone anyway because he didn't really see them.
Yeah.
So she was just like, I'll bury him. And then she doesn't go to the church. She hasn't been to the church since pretty much the day she buried him, because she's just like, I don't want to, it's depressing. She's like, it's a church. She's like, I don't need to go there. She's like, I know he's there. She's like, what? She's like, I know his, not his body anymore. She's like, I know his bones are there. She's like, when I die, you can bury me. She's like, come see me if you want, or not. She's like, I won't be offended if you don't come see me.
Mm.
But she's like, I was like to her, I was like, yeah, but you live by yourself. So I was like, the only really people that could potentially find her would either be her daughter, my nan, her neighbour, which is like friend, but we call her Auntie Julie. She ain't my auntie, but I don't know why. For years, we've literally just had to call her that. Either her or, like, it's literally either of them that could find her, but I'm like, that's going to be depressing for either of them to find her.
Mm.
Julie's gone there before, and my great nan's fallen down the stairs, and because she's not been able to get to the, like, crawl to the phone to like fucking phone anybody to say I've fallen down the stairs, she'd been led on the floor for about 2 hours before Julie had come round. And because she has a key to my great nan's house, because sometimes she feeds my great nan's cat,
Yeah.
most of the time she's at Asda around the corner. So the cat gets fed at a certain time. So she'll normally go in and feed Devil Demon Cat, because otherwise he'll cry meow. He'll just destroy everything until he gets fed. So
Mm.
she went there, and my great nan is just led at the bottom of the stairs like this. And she's just like, she honestly thought that she died or whatever, because she wasn't moving. And she's like, Margaret, are you all right? She's like, yeah, I just had to fall down the stairs. So her head was bleeding, and she didn't, like, because Julie's worked in like healthcare before and like care homes, so she knew what to do. She checked her over for a concussion anyway, and was like, I'll take her to the doctors tomorrow, because at this
Mm.
point they were closed and she couldn't take her. But she's like, I'll make sure she's fine. But she was fine. She didn't have concussion. She just had to let fall. But I was like, so yeah, it's like every time she tries to make out that, like, whenever she has something happen, she's like, it's not a big deal. Everyone's making a big deal out of it. Like, you're falling down the stairs, man.
Exactly, and that is a big deal, especially when you get older.
I was like to her, I was like, you're 90. And like, the thing is, people, like, she carry so much either up the stairs or down the stairs. She carries stuff that she doesn't need to. And I'm like, you're falling down the stairs and you're holding like sharp, like either like plates, cups, like books or whatever the hell she's got. And I'm like, easily, if that falls on you, it could hurt you.
Hmm.
And I'm like, her cat does not help. I was like to her, I was like, he will kill you in your sleep. He has tried. He's physically tried. She fell asleep on the sofa, and he's there on the back of the armchair, and he literally went like this across her face. He was close to her eye. It's like, he'd claw your eyes out if you could.
Bloody hell.
But she still loves him. And if she praised his love to like everybody, and she's like, he loves me, he loves me. I'm like, that's how Joey loves you. He's gonna kill you, Nan. He will physically kill you in your sleep. He has no remorse. He's the devil, Satan's child. She's walked in from being at Asda, and he's literally been on the curtain pole, upside down, just dangling. What cat dangles upside down from a curtain pole, just looks at you? I'm just like, not a normal cat.
It's kind of freaky though, isn't it?
Yeah, she walked in, like, she'd been at Asda for about 4 hours, and obviously he was out, but she had a window open that he could jump back in if he wanted to go home. He's just there, dangling from the curtain pole. I was like, for one, he destroyed her curtains, so she wasn't impressed with him because he had to climb up the curtain to get to the curtain pole, but then he's just dangling. I'm like, they do say that cats land on their fucking feet, but I was like, they also don't dangle upside down, and he's evil as hell. He's bit her that many times. He bit her hand the other day, and she's like, it's fine. She's there petting him. Like, it's fine, it's fine. I'm like, they're going. He's just gnawed freaking big chunk out your hand. That's not fine. And I was like, because he's an outdoor cat, he gets into things. I was like, he can give you infections. I was like, I've had an infection from Jasper before, which was not fucking fun because I didn't realise until I went and then was like, yeah, I got an infection from the cat.
Just Nicholas just asked you a question.
He's fine. I don't actually know where he is. He was in his house. He's got a scratching house. I had to carry that round Asda like a weirdo. I got so many stairs in Asda holding a cat house, and I just looked at a woman. I was like, have you never seen a woman holding a cat scratching Halloween house before? It wasn't even anywhere near Halloween. It was about September or something. I was like, yeah, this looks awkward as hell. He's playing in it, so it was a lot of money well spent. Oh, if I get him a ball pit. I don't think he'll like a ball pit. He's scared of a fucking cat litter tray, Matt.
Is he?
Yeah, I bought him a cat litter tray like Matt, and I put it in the kitchen last week. I should have filmed it. It would have been funny. I don't know how many views I probably would have got, but it fucking would have been funny. He literally threw the cat litter tray mat across the fucking kitchen. He still is petrified of it. He will not go near it. It's in the hallway at the moment because he wouldn't go in the kitchen, but he needed to pee. And I was like, you need to pee. Go to pee. He's like, no, I'm not stepping foot in the kitchen. Now he won't step foot in the hallway because he's like, no, I'm too scared of it. I'm like, my mum, it's literally half the size of him. It's a tiny one. It's not a big one, but he's too scared of it. He's like, no. He threw it across the kitchen. He just looked scared. He looked at me like, what is this, human? It would have been funny to film him, though. It literally would have been funny. I probably would have got a load of views. I was like, I debated putting it on You've Been Framed. People would have been like, fucking hell, what have you done to your cat? He annoys my mum anyway. Apparently he bit my mum. Yeah, he goes. Apparently he's got through a stage now where he's like, my mum will pet him and then he just goes and bites her hand. And then he'll bite her and then he realises what he's done. And then apparently he's all nice, like, oh, love me. After he's bit her. And she's like, no, I don't love you. I'm not petting you because you just bit me. And I'm like, you used to do it to me. Now he's doing it to you. I was like, that fucker used to fucking... I used to have teachers be like, do you self-harm? Because I used to just have cat scrams from my knuckle to my wrist. Can we put Jasper on You've Been Framed? I mean, if you want. I would put Sky on You've Been Framed, but, I don't have any videos of Sky where she's jumped from something.
Is You've Been Framed even still going, or are they just showing repeats of it now?
I don't really know. I haven't watched it in ages. I used to always watch it. because I had nothing better to do, and it was just funny to see what people would film.
I know. Sometimes though, I found some of them a bit. Some of them, like when they'd have accidents and stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like they would be made to happen.
Yeah, I think sometimes like some of them are staged, so it's kind of like, they're made to do it rather than it's just naturally happened.
I know they just do it and then they send it in as if it's naturally happened, when in reality it's been made to happen.
Yeah.
You know.
Is Harry even still alive? I haven't seen him in ages. I don't know why I think he's dead. I think that with a lot of presenters, I don't see him, and then I'm like, they're dead, and then they're even not dead, or they are. I'm still sad Dumbledore's dead. It's like Snape all over again. Oh, he retired. Look at how old is he? Harry Hill must be 60 something.
Who? Harry Hill.
Yeah, apparently he retired. I'm trying to figure out how old he is. Well, I haven't seen him in ages. I'm like,
I'll have a look now. Harry.
I haven't seen that man in like donkey's years.
I know. Did you ever watch Harry Hill's TV Burp?
Yeah, I used to watch quite a bit of that.
Yeah, the first episode of Harry Hill's TV Burp aired on the 14th of November 2002, apparently.
Wow. Itch up my itch eyeball.
The other thing I used to watch as a kid was Harry Hill's Shark Infested Custard.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch that as a kid?
Yeah. I also watched one where they did like weird, like random science experiments, but they weren't weird. I don't know why. There's one where they tried to put like what fruit would sink and wouldn't sink. I don't know why.
You're on about Brainiac.
Yeah, they used to do like weird things on there that was just like, some of them were like really weird. I know one that they tried to like see what fruit would sink and wouldn't sink, and I was just like, well, I think most fruit's gonna sink.
Yeah, that was something that Professor Manley done in the second series.
Yeah.
Yeah, it only ran for 6 years, Brainiac.
Yeah, it was kind of sad when it ended, because I used to always kind of watch that and then like sort of like Harry Hill stuff, and then the like You've Been Framed. That's not the weirdest sound.
Yeah, I used to watch Brainiac a lot as a kid.
Yeah. Jasper's made his way upstairs.
Yeah, Jungle Run was another one I used to watch as well.
Oh yeah, me and Nicola used to watch that after school. It's always really weird because of like those like freaking monkeys. You'd always get stuck with them, or they just throw things at you, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, apparently, in the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, and seventh and eighth series, apparently it was two guys in the Sid and Elvis costumes. Apparently,
Yeah.
but apparently there was somebody who was on the first, series. Apparently said it was two females.
Mm.
But Michael Underwood, the guy who presented it for the longest time, he was like, no, it's not two females. And then he's like, well, it might have been on Dom's one, because Dominic Wood, he used to, I think he presented the first two seasons of Jungle Run, I think.
Yeah, I think.
Then there was Chris Jarvis, and then there was Michael Underwood then.
Yeah. Me and Nicola both decided that we were going to sign up to that at one point. I don't know why, because I was like, neither of us are really good at puzzles, so we're not really going to get out on time. But we were adamant we were going to go on it. I was like,
Yeah, how come you guys didn't go on in the end?
yeah, me and Nicola just was like, yeah, I was like to Nicola, I was like, this is really not a good idea, because I was like, I don't want to get stuck with a monkey. I was like, not that they weren't real, but I was like, yeah, I don't really want to get stuck with two monkeys. And I was also like, we can't really figure out puzzles. So I ain't the brightest tool in the shed, so that's why I was like, yeah, let's pick something a bit more easier.
To be honest, I watched this YouTuber, right, and he interviews like old TV stars who used to do TV back in the day. Like he interviewed Michael Underwood and Chris Jarvis and a load of other people. But the one thing, like when it comes to talking about Jungle Run, he would never ask how. He never did ask like how they opened up the belly of the temple,
Yeah.
because it seemed pretty. It seemed pretty long. Like when you go inside, it seems pretty long from the entrance right to the back.
Yeah.
But on the outside though, it doesn't look like it's that big.
Mm.
But to be honest, I think like like the maze they had where they had to go like underground and they had to go through all these tunnels.
Yeah.
I think to do that one, I think they had like people down there opening and closing the things.
Yeah, I don't think they would have done them by themselves. I felt like people were probably telling them like which ways to go, or like just making it look like that they'd solved it, but probably didn't.
Yeah, because like they had to step on the stones above, wasn't they?
Yeah.
They had to step on the stones above, and then the door would open. But the stones they'd have to stop, and it would match the symbols on the door. Like, do you get me?
Yeah.
So each time they'd step on the correct symbol, it would open up the door. But how the people down there actually slide in the bricks across would know what sort of things they would step on. Do you get me?
Yeah.
Because you seem pretty cramped down there as well.
Yeah, I felt
So
like it's one of them things that like if you're quite claustrophobic, I generally feel like enclosed spaces is not going to be your friend.
oh, I know.
I've done escape rooms to know like some of them can be cramped as hell, or you have to crawl through things.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I wouldn't want to go on Jungle Run, me.
I wanted to go on Top Gear quite a few times.
Top Gear? What? Why would you want to go on Top Gear?
I wanted to drive the cars. I was just like, I'll drive them. I don't mind. Drive them around the track.
Like, there was some like where like I was thinking about going to see it, but this was back when I was a kid, though.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I what's the word? Like, but because it was all the way in London.
Yeah. It's kind of.
Yeah, Harry Hill, he's 59.
Huh. It's early retirement. People normally retire at like 60 odd.
Yeah, but it's also how he feels as well, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes some people do retire early because they feel like they're better, or they just like no.
Yeah, you wonder what I didn't get with Harry Hill's shark infested custard.
Hmm.
But I don't know if you remember this bit, but they had um, a a section where they'd have like a plastered celebrity in a wheelchair.
Oh yeah, there's always weird people. I'm like, I don't know why they put them in wheelchairs.
But the one thing I didn't quite get is why didn't they reveal who the guy was? Because he would go around and he would ask the audience, and he would be like, "Plastered celebrity, are you any of those?" And he'd be like, "Nope."
Thing with like seeing like him putting them in wheelchairs, I was like, I don't know if this is like the right thing to do. So it's like, Stephen Hawking is in a wheelchair because, you know, couldn't help it. But I was also like, you're also putting people in wheelchairs. I was like, I don't know if that oversteps the line in some ways.
Yeah, the plastered celebrity though, I never did find out who it was.
Yeah, I always tried to guess them, but then it was like I'd never be able to figure out who it was.
To be honest though, I don't think, as far as I know anyway, I don't think they ever did reveal who it was.
Mm,
If they did, I didn't know anything about it.
yeah.
Because I did watch it as a kid, but there was one I watched where I was over my nan's, and because I'd stayed over there for the night, and I was eating my breakfast, and but it you know somebody have uploaded all the episodes of Harry Hill's Shark Infested Custard, or most of them anyway.
Yeah.
I think there was only ever 10 episodes of it, actually. I think. But yeah, I used to watch it when I was a kid, like.
Yeah.
But it's weird though, because whoever have uploaded the episodes, apparently it was on Cartoon. It was on Cartoon Network for some reason.
Hmm.
I don't know why, because it's not a drawn cartoon, is it?
No, that's what I was thinking. It's like it's a bit strange.
you know. But yeah, it's not really a cartoon, is it? It's more like a game show.
Yeah.
Do you get me?
Yeah. It is a bit weird why someone would have uploaded it and it'd be shown on a completely different channel than what it should have been on.
Mm. Yeah, some of them though, see, I'm scrolling through them, and some of them I can't even remember.
Yeah.
Okay, Chelsea's gone. I don't know if Chelsea's gonna come back. could be wrong, but I think Chelsea might have gone to bed. I think. Right, I think I'm gonna call it a night. Because to be honest, I think Chelsea might have gone to bed. I'll message her now quick, see if she's coming back. But to be honest, I think Chelsea has gone to bed. Because it is pretty late. Yeah, because nobody here, so I think I'm just gonna end the stream now anyway, and I'll see you all tomorrow, hopefully. Night, guys. I'll see you on the flip side.